Alright, hello and welcome back to Downstage Gaming. I am your host, Josh, and welcome to part 10 of our continuing Let's Play of The Letter. When we last left off, we'd started Hannah's chapter here, which started us off. I did realize we started actually on the very first day here, on October 17th, where we met our the chief of the police here in Luxbourne, Mr. Harvey Lee. And he told us about the mansion, which got us all interested in buying it, originally as a gift for our failing marriage, but then we just wanted it just for social purposes, so we basically bought it. It's basically ours. And then we told Marianne we would meet her, I believe, tomorrow for some breakfast, a little breakfast date. And we were just leaving the mansion here. We did have an encounter with the girl from the ring, so we'll see how that goes. But hopefully no more spooky stuff will happen. And I am playing with control this time, which accidentally just unplugged plug book in, but here we go. So, we say our goodbyes, shake hands, make it clear without outright saying it, that we now own this house. By the time we left the mansion grounds, sunset is almost upon us.
So, you really want to buy this place then?
You got
That's
it.
a bit of a big impulse buy, even coming from you.
Bit of a ghoulish buy too, but you know.
Not that I'm complaining.
Why would you?
Well, I'm glad you're not complaining like you usually do. It's a right and proper Christmas miracle, isn't it?
Right and proper Christmas
Mama
miracle.
has finally done something right.
I refuse to look at him, staring at the passing scenery instead.
Hey, Buttercup, what's with this cheek?
Yo, what have I done? I've been nothing but perfection this entire day.
Rose, Lily, Mint. The nerve, Luke, the
Now,
nerve.
that is a face. Just like that one with it. Everybody's got a crazy face.
Is that what this was about? One, that woman's name was Rose.
You don't remember Isabella?
And two, you know I don't mean a word of that empty flirting.
It's all just in good fun.
And it's still the principle of things, Luke. I understand if you try to woo them to get what you want when it seems that I'm not looking. But I told you once before not to do it when I'm there.
Luke dealt with other women in the past to get what he wanted. Sometimes I have my doubts. I really want to believe that I am an exception, that he's not just using me like how he used those other girls. I'm having a hard time believing that now. And it isn't just the shameless flirting. There's something about that Marianne woman, as if Luke is familiar with her. As much as it shames me, it makes jealousy rear its ugly head. I am, suffice to say, ticked off.
Really? I forfeit my trip to Cardiff for
Oh,
this.
no, another
and
crazy.
You're still not happy.
Another crazy face. The trip to Cardiff. Calm now,
Trust me,
Hannah.
Luke. I am very happy. Very happy that, for once, we are doing something that I want. Can you not see the smile on my face?
I can't, actually. It doesn't appear to be there. It is only when I let loose those words that the truth hits me like a slap on the face. And by the looks of it, it seems to have the same effect on my dear, darling husband. It has always been, Luke wants to do this and Luke wants to do that, hasn't it? I don't even remember the last trip we went to which was of my own choosing, without needing to get the man's approval. On the other hand, I was pulled along to every single expedition he wished to tackle, and I never objected. The rest of the ride home is spent ignoring each other, pretending the other didn't exist. Well, this is good. Again, I'm really, I'm really looking to drive these two apart. They're clearly not good for each other. Arriving at our penthouse, my first order of business is to get into... Look at this couch! This is I want this crazy looking thing. I love it. I didn't notice last time because of all the party guests that were here. My first order of business is to get into bed. Forget a hot bath and forget the tea. I just want to bury myself in blankets and forget everything in my slumber. It seems that Luke has the same idea in mind as he tags along behind me. But this is something I will not allow the moment I pass through the door.
Out.
What the bloody hell, woman? This is my bedroom too!
No, you're sleeping on the crazy you couch. Luke stands, flabbergasted as I deny him entry into our chambers. His pillows lie on the cold, tiled floors away from the warmth of our soft down bed, and my gaze promises him the same fate if he does not budge on this matter.
Don't even try to argue, because I am very cross with you, Luke Wright. You can take the second bedroom or the guest room if you wish. But I do not want to see you at all for the rest of the night.
I mean, same.
Johans!
Yes! A butler wanders over, a curious expression on his face. He doesn't quite hurry, moving at a relaxed pace, no matter how angry his master sounded.
No, you are not allowed to sleep in my room, sir.
I don't trust Johans, but I do like him.
That's not what I mean. Help me talk some sense into her.
There is no sense in questioning her right to be angry, sir. So, if I might be excused, I'll go prepare the second bedroom for...
I have to keep a straight face as he stomps away in defeat.
Mutiny! This is mutiny! The system is being upturned, and the people are rioting, and everything is left asunder.
Yeah, this is what will happen to all rich people one day, Luke. It isn't every day that Luke is rendered speechless by someone he considers inferior, or to yield to another authority without an ulterior motive. His pride just won't allow it. I do keep telling the man to treat his people better. He may throw whatever fit he wants, but he will not be getting his way tonight. Victorious, I celebrate by jumping face first onto our bed. Undignified, yes, but nobody is here to judge me anyway. Right? Nobody is here to tell me what to do. Yet as I succumb to sleep, I can hear them whisper to me. I can hear them whispering. Calling for me. They want me. Need me. They drown me, pull me down, and suffocate me in their embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss awaits, inviting, yet foreboding. They're calling to me from in there, aren't they? And I do want to help, I do. But when I try to reach out, something pulls me back like a hook, sinking itself into my stomach. Oh, shoot. And I break through the surface with a gasp. Alone in bed and without Luke to hog the covers, I'm swathed in cloth and slicked with sweat. It takes me a while to untangle myself and kick them all off. Both the bed and I are a right mess by the end of it all, but I am more than eager to just get up and go out for some fresh air. So was that the cellar then of the mansion? That's what it kind of looked like. The days past had gone by a blur. Let's take a look at I always like looking at the pictures. Where we got here for the 21st? That's what I like to see. So meanwhile, while the crew is not watching the movie, here these two are. Trouble in paradise. We hadn't talked much, Luke and I, outside of necessity. In fact, we've hardly talked beyond the topic of acquisitions of properties. Properties being the mansion, obviously. Everything has been so busy that I haven't talked to anyone outside of business, and it's just so stressing. So one can understand my need for a good chat, preferably over a good meal. There are times when any decent, emotionally healthy, and socially capable person needs a good friend. One who will talk to them without the conversation degrading or turning into an argument. Or barring a nearby friend, I have an interior designer under a confidentiality agreement to listen to me. Perfect! Who needs friends when you have interior designers?
Come on now!
The place is bustling with movers, carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. I can hear Luke barking at them in the other room, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings.
What a just blessed soul.
Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It is hard to tune him out. The walls did not do a good job of muffling him at all. But then again, it is Luke. I would still hear him ranting even if we were on the opposite sides of the mansion, and I'm wearing earplugs.
I'd really like to thank you for inviting me to breakfast, Mrs. Wright.
Of course, Marianne. Anything for you, Marianne.
But I already ate, so I should really go back to work.
But we're on our date, Marianne.
Nonsense! You arrived so early. You must not have gotten a proper meal. Our butler has made a surprisingly lovely bubble and squeak.
I'd love a bubble and squeak.
Sit. I'd situate us in the dining hall, but it is a mess right now.
I assume all of these are like weird British foods, but I truly don't know.
Oh, Johans!
The man in question appears, ready with a tray as he starts to set the table for us. We sit in silence as we are each served a plate. Oh, that does look quite good. Bubble and Squeak, topped by a nicely poached egg with cherry tomatoes and other garnishes adorning the edges of the plate. Bubble and Squeak. A cup and saucer and a teapot with some Earl Grey is placed down for Marianne, and I ask for an orange Julius.
How are you liking the project?
Drop that vase and I'll have your head. I know it's only an 8 million yen vase, but I swear I'll...
Well,
Just
it's certainly
ignore
a fun
him.
challenge, incorporating the designs of a Jacobean manor and the functionality of a modern household.
Just pretend he isn't even there.
I have ideas I would like to suggest, by the way, about what to use the second bedroom for. I have been
Yes.
informed of your goddaughter and thought a kid-friendly room might be in order.
Goddaughter.
You read my mind. I was actually going to bring that up.
Interesting.
Oh, that would just be so lovely, Marianne. That way, Kylie can bring her friends over as well.
I wonder how old Kylie is.
And a good friend of mine, Rochelle, is expecting a baby. So, why don't we think about putting a crib in there too? I can just imagine little ones running around, filling this place with the pitter-patter of their feet.
Pitter-patter.
We'd have to make sure they don't trip and fall on the stairs, though.
We won't be able to finish everything up until after the party. But we'll have it ready by then, so that all we need to do is to move in the furnishings.
Yes, that's plenty fine. It's not like we're in a hurry to have it. And we wouldn't want the workers to disturb the guests or the other way around, do we?
Of course not. We wouldn't want them mingling.
Just make sure it's presentable. You know, in case a guest snoops about.
Of course. As for the kitchen you wanted, I've already negotiated for the high-end stoves and the hot and cold drawers, so on and so forth. I've got a friend who is able to customize them so that they'll look like the counters we'll be replacing and fit the rest of the interior. They'll be bringing them in today.
Well, fantastic.
Why can't people do anything right? Don't drag it. You'll scratch the wood.
Excellent. But no, really, how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful, believe me. Everything is going smoothly too. It has been a long time since I've worked on something on this grand a scale.
This, you know, it's been a long time since you've worked on something this haunted too, I'm imagining.
Nowadays, everyone is about condos and flats, living in the city where every room is an identical box.
Nobody wants the haunted mansions these days.
Believe me, this is very refreshing.
We lived in a condo before this, Marianne.
Ooh.
I didn't mean any insult.
And honestly, it's a lot nicer than here. I can't believe that they're trading that for
It's
this.
fine, sweetie. Look at you, all frazzled. I was just pulling your leg.
These two. There's something
Luke
here.
wanted that penthouse when we got married, and you can thank him for purchasing this place as well.
She looks confused. Of course, she has every right to be. She, no doubt, overheard me push that estate agent into the sale, making quite the aggressive offer. She saw me sign the papers for the mansion as well. I just had to scoff.
Don't be fooled. I'm just the treasury. I wouldn't be able to make a purchase this grand without his seal of approval.
Why are you with him? Like, at all? Like, for real?
I see.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, you're the one who got mad at Isabel for saying okay earlier.
Yes, it wouldn't be appropriate to comment further. It is unprofessional.
Unprofessional.
I need a gossip buddy, not a professional. I can't help it that at a deep sighs I stick a fork into the dish, and then I pretend it's Marianne and I stick it in again. I didn't want professional. I want someone who will either agree with me, even if it's just for the sake of agreeing, or someone who will try to talk some sense into me. Neutral responses are so boring. There's no discourse in the middle ground.
The food is good. Best bubble and squeak.
Love the bubble and squeak, though.
Of course it is. Our kitchen staff only uses the freshest hand-picked ingredients.
Only the best bubbles and the finest squeaks.
Only the best for the rights.
Mr. Wright is not joining us?
Oh, he'll never join us again.
No, he's far too busy bossing people around. He even refused to join me for breakfast earlier. Hence, this.
I see.
I wouldn't be caught dead with you and he said yes.
My apologies. I really don't know what sort of response you expect to get from
I
me.
mean, that's fair. This must be very awkward for you. There's the clatter of silverware as I slam my hands on the table. It is frustrating. I am frustrated. At Luke, mostly. But Marianne's neutral, professional answers are certainly irksome as well.
You're a human with feelings and opinions, aren't you?
Not really.
Don't give me this bollocks about being professional when we're having a nice, friendly chat over a nice and friendly breakfast.
Oh, Marianne. What
I can
have you
only
gotten
talk
yourself
about interior
into?
designs for so long, and I detest one-sided conversations, Marianne.
But I really don't know what to say, Mrs. Wright. we were talking of no topic in particular, and
Luke. We were talking about Luke.
What do you think of him? Are you attracted to him? What's the deal?
about him not eating breakfast with you.
About him treating me as if I were some treasury.
I didn't realize that I shouted that out loud until it's too late. There's a stunned silence that settled before I slumped back into my seat. Hiding my face behind my hands, I can feel my shoulders shake. Breathe, I told myself. Calm down. But it's just so hard.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like he doesn't love me anymore.
I mean, it kind of seems like he doesn't.
Oh, have I been so blind?
Maybe he never did.
Did he ever love me at all? Was our marriage all for the sake of saving his company and his wealth?
Seems pretty likely.
Because?
Did I say all that out loud? Again? No, this is bad. Unacceptable. It has been rumored before, the real reason for our engagement, but if anyone were to know of this, marriages of necessity to carry on a political and financial power used to be a common thing, but the Evans-Wright union is the perfect happily ever after. Was supposed to be. It is true that we first met each other in order to discuss dealings to make the then failing Wright enterprise a subsidiary for Evans Incorporated, but I do remember being in love with them, and there were times when he said he loved me back. Even if I'm not sure of what the truth is now. Either way, I do not want the Wright name or the Evans name dragged through the mud because of a slip-up. So I'll have to kill Marianne. Oh, God. I mean, we're not threatening Marianne. We're ask for silence. I mean, neither of these are great, but asking for silence is better than threatening. So let's ask for her silence. Marianne's a good sort, isn't she? Yeah, I had a feeling. Okay. Weird that Marianne would not like to be threatened. I don't understand that. But so far, she's been reasonable and accommodating, even towards Luke's ridiculous requests. Patient and professional. Did it only extend to business? Or would she be able to understand that things like this are not as simple, not as clean, as they are painted to be? Certainly, I can talk to her. Ask for her.
I won't speak a word, Mrs. Wright. Not only am I contractually obliged to, it would also go against my principles.
Aw, Marianne.
This is no one else's business but your own, and it should be kept between the two of you.
I mean, you're definitely right.
And whoever you wish to seek counsel from.
But don't let that person be me, because I am not a counselor.
Please, Marianne. You have to understand these sort of affairs. If anyone were to know this, they could just twist it and we'll be ruined. All I ask for is your silence on the matter.
She already said yes,
If
Hannah.
I am to be frank, Mrs. Wright, this isn't new for me. You aren't the first, and you certainly won't be the last to have complicated dealings.
Yeah, that's true enough.
Unless what you're doing is illegal, I turn a blind eye.
Can I trust her?
If I wasn't in the same boat, I'd be trying to pry those secrets and gossip with you about them by now.
Well, I'm keeping that information confidential as well.
It's not like I have any other choice, do I?
Thank you.
We continue to eat our meal in peace, finishing the last of the food and drink. When the door to the parlor opened, Marianne and I are just sitting in silence.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
I give him nothing but a small nod.
This was a wonderful meal, Marianne. You're free to return to your duties.
Back to your meager life, Marianne.
I must excuse myself.
It was my pleasure, and thank you for the food as well.
Making my way downstairs, I look back and see Marianne give me a nod and a small smile. And then Johannes is also there standing next to her and just kind of staring off into space. They certainly put me in lighter spirits. An interview with Luxury Living. That is today, isn't it? Yeah, so what day were we, like, we skipped forward quite a bit, didn't we? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we went from here all the way to October 26th. Okay, so we're 2 days after whatever happened to Isabella that we're not aware of. Okay, alright. Oh yes, people had caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, there were complications, and it took longer than it usually does for us. Hopefully I won't have any other unfortunate slip-ups with someone who isn't bound by confidentiality. Hopefully. The mansion grounds has been one of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedroom. Really, it looks exactly the same from this picture. Although it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start, and I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favorite daffodil stands out easily, having been transplanted from the pots that used to litter the rooftop of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. What a great guy. Oh, hey! Speaking of great guys! It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers in quiet admiration. He's hard to miss. The hulk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It is a peculiar sight, seeing someone who looks like he does, handling little delicate things with such care. Seeing a monster handle little tiny things. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am.
Hi, Zach.
Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
No, we're
The
just
one and
rushing
only.
everything. Oh, Hannah, blushing.
Welcome to Maison de Right. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed. But it won't be a problem.
Something or other about ghoul infestation, I don't know.
They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine,
Just
please.
me.
Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own.
Oh, I'm a consummate
We've
professional.
had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Hannah, if I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah.
Oh,
Alrighty
these two.
then.
These two hitting it off
Anyway,
quite a bit
I'm no
too.
veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Wright. Hannah.
Alright, Zachary proves quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him. His skills with the camera and experience in this industry at the very least. We'll have to find out if I can trust him with my sordid relationship secrets. He is kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his... Is this like the first time Hannah has encountered a nice person in her life? I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They're quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he had procured several items to embellish the interior within. Bowls of fruits, lemon trays with pepper mills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards, and glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains are brought in for a kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count. All in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture.
Makes
But you
sense.
guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights. Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
Oh, you'll find yourself in a river. We go through the rooms one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. Oh, wow. Nice little ballroom here. Ballroom needs little preparation with its grand design, although there is some trouble at first with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary's props come in handy, considering how Johannes kept the place so neat and sterile, one can practically eat off the floor. We're getting all kinds of new places. We carry on, touring the house and taking pictures where we can, with exception to the rooms which have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he's using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. I mean, come on, Hannah. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation in between the clicking of the camera. He even goes far as to talk about the terminologies like shutter speeds and aperture when I ask about the technical aspects. These two are really hitting it off. I can't quite see the picture as it is made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvas. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft such as this is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for the both of us. Despite that, he's been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. But it is as we're taking pictures in the foyer that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And had I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have even noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. Oh my. His finger doesn't move to release the shutter. Yet he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly fixed through the viewfinder. His hands shake, and there is a slight sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
No response.
Zach, is something the matter?
Yeah, you got something. If you want to just sort of wipe your neck and shoulders, and just sort of maybe just sort of hit your back. Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around, though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something that's all.
So something with the Google.
Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops, and everything starts again as I manage to choke out.
You're sure?
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there is an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what happened ever again.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job.
I also made a movie, but everyone hated it, so not doing that
It's
anymore.
fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been out of line, sticking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so as I see his shoulders slump and the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing.
It's called Point of No
People
Return.
didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
What? That wasn't what was on the movie thing.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Baby a lot more.
Very funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious, Hannah.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
I'm also curious, but he hesitates. When I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Blue Fonzie le bleu ombre de noir Britannicus. Dark blue, the darkest hour of the Black British. I'm sure I nailed all that. He speaks with the passion of one who has gone through the very matter he is concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he is an amazing speaker, if only I wasn't so engrossed listening. Prejudice and discrimination, in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity, and higher chances of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks and people of color in general, still being treated like second-class citizens. All because of the color of their skin. It is all just positively riveting. It's a weird thing to say, and sad. It comes to a point wherein he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he had just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all.
Hannah, on that, once again, you and I
should
agree.
See how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes.
Well, let's not go too far, Hannah.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
Let's keep things professional for the moment. I want to say that I understand where he's coming from. How could you possibly understand where he's coming from? But I really don't, do I? No, you don't. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke, and would he still have loved me if I was any lesser? I'm guessing not.
What was your home like? These things you talk about. It sounds like you... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around, but a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
They would just steal stuff? Oh, that I knew. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards and the stolen item is not a pencil, but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
I mean, I don't particularly like the sort of girl that's haunting it, but, you know, everything else is good.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully.
You bully!
It's just that.
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was the little girl, all dolled up and treated like fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting to me hand and foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents, just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they were needed next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are.
A pensive mood overcomes us. There's a moment where neither of us are sure of how to go on from there. Things have gotten a bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one. Just as large and extravagant, just as filled with ghouls, and just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
That seems
Honor,
fair.
I think she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring.
I mean, he's here to do a job that you asked him to do,
You
Hannah.
know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, the darkest hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
Apparently a great deal.
People, right?
Oui, people are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I struck a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French.
Please. Ma'am, please don't call me big boy.
You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
No, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry.
I just know a couple of French
I've
words.
made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
I've seen the movie Ratatouille.
C'est magnifique.
It has been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. I mean, listen, you're getting along well, but I think it's a little early to call him a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary's the sort who can probably befriend anyone. Okay, yeah. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. A bit too comfortable. Alright, well, once again, we end here right outside the mansion. We will have to continue on with Hannah and see about this party. I believe a party is going to be thrown at the mansion here soon. But we'll have to find out. In the meantime, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will see you next time.